Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks. Cool. So thank you so much for having me, Laura, and the team. Just a quick introduction from myself, and then I'll introduce my colleagues who are also coming from Skyping in from the Sydney office. So my name is Claire. I work in the campus recruitment team. I look after our kind of trading, risk and research campus recruitment roles. Today I am joined by a couple of my team members if they want to introduce themselves too.
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to go first? Yes. So hey, I'm Peter. I went to the University of Melbourne. I studied computer science and data science, and I joined last year as a graduate software engineer.
Cool. Hey guys, I'm Ben. I studied politics and philosophy at Oxford in the UK. I also joined at the same time as Pete, just over a year and a half ago, as a trader.
Nice, thanks. So today we're just going to go over a bit about Optiver first off, how we kind of operate our different opportunities that we have, the amazing culture at Optiver. Ben and Peter will share their background and how they kind of got into Optiver and what they work on. And then we will take time for questions at the end. Cool. So just wanted to start by asking everyone what comes to their mind when you think about trading. If anyone's able to come off mute and share some ideas. So when I started at Optiver, when I thought about trading, definitely what came to my mind was like old school trading on the exchange, like bunch of kind of old guys like shouting at each other, very like aggressive and not the same kind of quantitative focus that we have today. Does anyone else share those similar thoughts when they think about like finance and trading? Yeah, cool. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a sec. So if you all go to menti.com, do you see the code at the start? Just up here. Put the code in. I'll give everyone a second to do that. Okay, cool. And then once you've entered the code at Menti, input here what you study. So if you go to menti.com, woohoo, we've got a physics in the room. Anyone else? So the breadth of kind of interests and like subjects that people study at Optiver are pretty large and come on a full kind of different like spectrum. So even though we have one person on the call today studying physics, we definitely have a number of kind of backgrounds at Optiver. And then have you heard of Optiver before? So maybe you can just, if you're not on Menti, you can come off mute and say if you've heard of us before. Woohoo! I'm guessing this is our physics person. And then I asked the question, what comes to mind when you think about trading? So when I started at Optiver, it was definitely a total kind of misconception as to what the reality is. And today I'll share a little bit more about how we actually operate. So I'm just going to go back to the Prezzo. All right. Cool. So yeah, we'll go over who we are, and what a market maker is, and then kind of how to apply. Yeah, so who we are, we're a global quantitative trading firm. We're technology powered. So we started way back in 1986 in Amsterdam with just one single trader. And now we've grown and established ourselves as kind of trusted market maker across 50 plus exchanges. We're really kind of renowned and reputable in the industry, is always providing prices. So don't worry if you don't know what a market maker is. Essentially, we provide a price for anyone who wants to buy and sell a product in the financial market. So whether that be, your granny, or anyone who kind of trades, we're critical to the markets because we're always providing the price no matter kind of how volatile the situation. So if you think about recent kind of things that are happening across the world, we're always kind of trusted, across those exchanges. We have grown substantially since we first started. So from Amsterdam, we now have obviously our office in Sydney, and then a number of kind of offices throughout the world, and trading across the globe. What that means for you is that we have so much opportunity also to move across offices. So whether that be staying in Asia, there's also opportunities to travel abroad. So yeah, really, really good kind of opportunities there. I'm going to pass along to my colleagues in a minute, but I just wanted to say that later on in the preso, we will go over our kind of opportunities, like the culture that we have at Optiver, and some of like our perks and benefits. And then of course there'll be time for questions. I'll just ask Ben to come off mute and give a bit of his kind of background and his role.
Hey guys, I'm Ben. So started out a year and a bit ago. I got the job for the grad program, which I imagine this is what many of you will be looking at. It was a pretty cool program. It lasted 3 months. Having studied sort of not STEMmy things at university, having done sort of politics and philosophy, everything was very new. And while it's a pretty full-on program at the start, they don't really require you to have done any sort of finance or derivatives before. So in that sense, it's like it's almost like university, like pretty intense learning. And it doesn't really matter where you start from, they'll get you up to scratch. So yeah, at the moment I trade Korean options. So got quite a large share in terms of the volume of the options on the Kospi index, and I spend most of my day just showing bids and offers in different expiries on options on the Korean index. So some of that, I'm sure you can look up testimonials from people, but some of the things that I find really cool about the place is that they throw you in the deep end pretty early and give you sort of a lot of responsibility. And really, if you want to take more on and you said, I'm happy to do this, there's really nothing stopping you from being able to sort of take that on. One of the really cool things is that we trade with our own money, so we don't have any clients, which means that obviously you can come to work in a t-shirt or whatever you like wearing. That also helps with that sort of responsibility, because maybe if you're an engineer or something, maybe clients get, they're a bit worried if they see a young person taking on responsibility, they want a more senior person in the company. But here, because it's just, we're trading with our own money, if your boss, there's not really bosses, but if someone who's trading the spot thinks that you're doing well, I'll let Pete talk about for the development and software side, but it's really easy to take on a lot of stuff very early if that's what you want to do. And I think another really cool thing is that while there are sort of roles, there's a data developer, I'm a trader, and then within those, there's sort of like more specific roles. So there's developers for hardware, for software. There's people that trade and do mostly research. And there's people that trade positionally. There's just, even though there are sort of like roles, even within those roles, you really just find out what you like and what you're good at and you kind of make your own role. So having not done a STEM degree, my coding is all right, but it's probably one of the worst in the building. And so the things that I like focus on are less to that. And, you know, I mean, having studied philosophy doesn't help you that much when you're trading options, but like insofar as it can, you can kind of push doing more of that sort of stuff that you enjoy more and you're better at, and no one's going to sort of push you into doing more of things that you don't like so much. So yeah, I think that just grabbing whatever you like and getting a lot of responsibility to do it really early on in your career is something pretty cool and unique about this place. And they're the sort of main reasons why I'd recommend those people that are sort of ambitious and clever, I guess, to get a job here. Now I'll hand it over to Pete.
Yeah, thanks. Well said. I can't believe you took notes. Makes me feel bad. Yeah, definitely agree with what you said, Ben. Yeah, so I guess I'll elaborate a bit more on how you can be given a lot of responsibility at the very beginning. So when I joined Optiver, I've done 2 rotations so far. My first rotation was with Options IT, where I was working on options trading strategies. And now I've moved to my second rotation, which is Korea Taiwan IT. So we have like all these trading softwares in Korea, Taiwan, and we constantly need people to like develop them, maintain them, etc. So I guess in terms of being given responsibility, I was asked to develop a trading algorithm for Korea, and I was given a week to basically scope it out, set my own timelines, and basically decide, you know, what I want to do and how I want to do it. And yeah, it feels great for sure. Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Ben?
No, it's pretty cool because Pete and I were in the same grad program a year ago.
Yeah.
And now, well, I'm trading. We have these auto traders. One of them breaks, and I don't really know what the problem is because I haven't seen the issue before. And so I'm in our sort of Slack chat, and I'm saying, can anyone help with this? And well, I hadn't really spoken to Pete for a year or so, and he's putting in the chat there like, okay, I'm having a look at it. I'm like, oh, that's the guy I started with a year ago, and now he's already sort of like fixing the auto trader. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty social. Like, yeah. I don't know what Claire's plan is for me to keep talking here, but
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, thank you so much, Ben and Peter, for sharing your experiences. I'm just going to share like our opportunities, some kind of hints and tips for the recruitment process, the culture to expect at Optiver, and we'll take some time for questions as well. So I'll go back to my slides. Cool, if everyone can see that, okay. So you can just scan this, scan the QR code here. I'll talk through the opportunities, but you can have a little look while, yeah, I think I can see Ben scanning. Ben, you've already got a job. So yeah, we have a number of kind of graduate and intern roles. My advice is always to have a look at our job descriptions. They're pretty detailed, and there's some day in the life articles, and see which one really kind of resonates with you in terms of like the skills that we're looking for. There's a section that says like who you are, and yeah, that's definitely like a helpful kind of insight into like the type or the qualities, I should say, that we're looking for in that particular role. I'll just chat through them now. Yes, so yep. So the summer internship program is 10 to 12 weeks, depending on your role through the summer. So it's open to pre-penultimate and penultimate students. We have a really kind of renowned and reputable training program at Optiver. So the initial stages are kind of getting up to speed with the trading fundamentals and how we operate at Optiver. And then you go through, depending on whether you're doing tech or trading or research, different kind of projects, which are really created to make impact. So it's not going to be the case that we'll give you a project that Ben worked on last year and then shove you in the corner and and put you to work. It's really like, what are our business needs at this point, and where can you kind of make impact? And at the end of the 10 or 12 weeks, like you'll look back retrospectively and just seeing how much you've grown. So like in terms of both like the skill set and the project that you've worked on. And also we have for our traders, a kind of trading simulator. So we've created that in-house. So you'll have the opportunity to do some live trading. It's all fake money. So you won't be able to lose us millions in your first week or anything like that. But a really good opportunity to actually try your hand at trading yourself. We do have a 175k pro rata package, so pretty kind of generous, and then the flights and accommodation paid for the duration of your internship. So the interns always end up like super close friends because they stay in the one kind of building and then work really closely together as well. Optiver, which is nice. And then at the end, hopefully you'll have loved your experience at Optiver, really like learned and grown as a person, and kind of go for the grad job too. I'll go over some of our kind of perks and benefits in more detail in a couple of slides. So the graduate program is a little bit different to the internship, just in that you really need to get it's really, I guess, excelling you to and preparing you to like what we call Optiver hit the floor. So that means like join whatever team you're joining and kind of make impact when you get there. So a bit kind of more fast paced, but it has the same structure as the internship program, in that we have the structured training. So again, we have an education team. We actually have our newly renovated education floor too. And the sole purpose is that you go through the training that we have at Optiver, and then are of course kind of mentored by senior people in the company. Ben mentioned the fact that we have a pretty like flat structure here, and that's definitely the case. Like graduates and interns, their ideas are really kind of valued in the company. And you get responsibility very early on. So our graduates go through a 12-week training program, and then they hit the floor after that. And just really like always kind of challenging yourself at Optiver. I should say that our graduate and intern positions kind of unofficially, I guess, have closed. However, we do have expressions of interest positions open. So you just, go and apply as per the roles on our website. And we're still kind of actively looking at those. So just go into some of the perks and benefits. So we do have, we're definitely well kind of looked after at Optiver. So yeah, as Ben said, it's just kind of casual dress environment. We have daily breakfast and lunch, and it is top quality stuff. Sometimes some baked goods there as well. It's really, we do have a lot of, I guess, internal perks, even the social side of things. So we have drinks on a Friday. We have a number of different clubs, the chill out and games area. It really does not matter what time you go to our social area during the day. There's someone playing ping pong. So there's always just different kind of elements of the social side you can get involved in. But I think like what really keeps you at Optiver, what's like pretty infectious, is like the culture. It's super unique and like nowhere I've worked before. So they definitely touched on it before, but in a couple of different ways. So the flat structure that we have just means that everyone is very like, driven, focused and kind of passionate about what they do, but there's that lack of kind of structure and hierarchy. So it means that everyone's very kind of like down to earth, open. You can chat to anyone if you need, advice, or if you just need the tech to get going on a project. It's very quick. There's that lack of like red tape. I don't need to wait for put a meeting in someone's diary in 6 months' time through the PA or anything like that. It just doesn't work like that. You just rock up to whoever you have to at Optiver, and people are extremely receptive. That just kind of works for me. And then I guess it goes to how we are as a company. We're rapidly growing. It's a really, really exciting time to join Optiver. And that's just because we do things very quickly. So we're pretty efficient. Like I think Peter mentioned, you can be starting a project 1 week and see it kind of end to end the next. And then, yeah, looking retrospectively when I've been here the past few years, like how much we've got done from the trading floor to where my floor is really, really cool. And yeah, it's just a very like unique and kind of dynamic environment to be in, but really good. And just along with some of the kind of health and well-being then to make sure we're well looked after. So we have our gym membership and then kind of PT classes. We've got like showers and things like that in-house. We have weekly massages. So the last presentation that I was giving, I was actually could see my colleague getting a massage at the same time. So yeah, all of those great perks as well. So I'll just quickly go through the recruitment process. I'll always say at this point, it's like, I think people do feel slightly like they can have kind of imposter syndrome. Just with looking at some of our interview processes, and I was like, oh, it looks as if it's pretty like hardcore, and it like I might not be cut out or whatever. Like definitely, if you look through the job description and some of the kind of key, I guess like responsibilities or the about you section or some of the day in the life, and you think, oh, that sounds really cool. Like chances are the job's for you. So just like apply. We're really supportive through the process. So worry about one stage at a time, just focus on doing one. And then we give you kind of feedback throughout. So the tech recruitment process looks a bit like this. There's different elements to assess your technical skills. And then obviously the behavioral kind of screens as well. What I'll say about Optiver is that we definitely have a focus on behaviors. So what I mentioned earlier, just about how important it is to maintain that culture at Optiver. So even though we are rapidly expanding, we still have a really kind of strong focus on the talent that we bring in. So don't be, I guess, come to the behavioral interviews prepared. And kind of a couple of top tips from me would be to really think about, and it might sound cliche, but to think about what kind of skills you might need in the role that you've applied for, and then like where you can really like see examples of that and things that you've done. So thinking about, what is the role of a trader? What skills might they need? Okay, well, I have some of these examples ready to talk about. That just makes the interviewers like tick. So that's strong. And the other part is like what we're looking for is behaviors that do align to the people at Optiver. So everyone is very driven. They have perseverance. They're reflective. So no day in trading is going to go perfectly. Being able to have a look back and see any kind of decisions that you've made, any mistakes, and how you're going to rectify that going forward. You can really talk to those things in the behavioral interview without, having traded yourself. So I think it's really good to have some good kind of reflections on your examples as well. Maybe things you would have done differently, or at times when things haven't gone as well. That's completely fine to talk about. So it doesn't all have to be like sunshine and rainbows. It's totally fine for there to be some mistakes in there as well. But yeah, being able to talk to some learnings is really good. And then just finally on that, on being the kind of drive to succeed that we look for at Optiver. So it doesn't need to be in the financial market. So I think my kind of common pitfall is maybe is kind of rhyming off, I guess, the latest financial news, but it doesn't need to come in that form. So we actually really, most of the time, don't take people from a finance kind of background. Really what we're looking for is people that enjoy quantitative problems in a kind of collaborative setting. So yeah, any examples of showing like real kind of drive and perseverance in your life is definitely what we're looking for there as well. Again, we will talk you through these steps. So at Optiver, we're big on giving feedback. So through each of the kind of assessments or interviews, we'll reflect on how we went, and we'll talk about how we can kind of improve going forward or better prepare going forward. Yes. And then the research recruitment process is pretty similar. It just has kind of take-home assignments as well. And again, yeah, you can, we're open to any questions throughout the process. Thanks. So I just wanted to say, yeah, to reiterate, so a couple of things. Like what we're looking for at Optiver is people who love challenging kind of quantitative problems, who like kind of working with others to solve them. So if that sounds like you, or it might sound like you, or you like kind of one of those aspects, definitely have a look at our roles. We, as I said before, but just to mention again, the roles at the moment say expression of interest, just because we're coming to the later stages of our campaign. We are still actively looking through the applications, so please don't be discouraged if you see that. And really look through the roles and see which parts like resonate with you. So it tends to be the case that, for example, if you look at our research roles and our trading roles, and you think, oh, like I'm really interested in something fast paced, that sounds like trading or whatever, then definitely kind of go for it. And as I say, you'll be kind of supported through the process by myself and the recruitment team. And if you do have any questions throughout, you can definitely get in touch with us. We'll take some questions now if anyone has any for either Peter or Ben or I. I can start first. I'll ask Ben a question. Ben, can you describe like a challenging day on the trading floor? And then maybe how you overcame it?
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess 3 months ago, Putin launched an invasion of Ukraine during Asian hours. So it's pretty challenging because it's probably going to have some effect on the Korean market, but you don't like the biggest one it's going to affect is obviously the European one. So a big challenge is you obviously see a lot of price action happening, and you have opinions, but the biggest market this is going to affect isn't even open yet. So you kind of need to start thinking about how the Europeans are going to react when they wake up in 8 hours, and then sort of trade with that in mind. So it's pretty challenging to know what a sort of fair reaction is at that point. And so one of the ways you overcome that is you need to sort of work with people that know a bit more than you do about that stuff. So we have people on the trading floor that specialize in macroeconomics, as well as people who are on the floor doing some trading, but they're more sort of focused on research. So if you can get these guys who are sort of research specialists, and they know how to price things exceptionally well with a macro specialist, and then you get sort of like a trader in there, suddenly you have this problem that seems pretty like you've got a massively wide confidence interval, and you can start sort of narrowing that down as you have a discussion among these sort of like 3 groups of people that do separate things quite well, but together they don't do each other's things particularly well. And then we came up with an idea about what we thought Euro stocks was going to do, and then we started trading the Asian products. We came up with what the fair changes in prices and the options should be. We sort of traded off the back of that, but obviously it's pretty sort of intense sort of experience when you've got sort of a war being declared and you're sort of at the front line. Well, not really the front line. That's makes too much sense. But like you're trading the markets that like have the first sort of opportunity to react to that. Obviously, you're not the sort of, the main products that are going to move. Obviously, oil futures and other indices are the most volatile things based on that news, but you're the only market that's open. So it's a pretty interesting experience being able to trade that. And yeah, it's the sort of thing you got to do very regularly, multiple times a year, to sort of be the first people to react to like a big bit of news.
Thanks. Were there any other questions? I think we'll have one in the chat. How many hours?
Oh yeah, see a question here about work-life balance. I'll speak for myself, and then Pete can speak. So yeah, so we traders just have to be there for the hours that the market's open, and then sort of a bit before and after, because you need to sort of debrief and plan for what you're going to do during the day. So I'd say on average, I work 10 to 11 hours a day, and I've never worked a minute on a weekend. So there's, compared to, I don't know, consulting or banking, which seem to be similar sort of fields, I'd say the work is probably slightly less. And the very good thing is that there's no sort of pressure to be in any longer than you want to be. So you come in a bit earlier and leave a bit later if you want. You just need to make sure you're there for the market hours. And I think, 50 to 55 hours a week is probably average for a trader.
But for software engineers, though, it's a lot more flexible, and I definitely don't work 11 hours a day. That's pretty solid. I usually come in around 9 and leave around 6, but then there's always like lunch in between and stuff like that. And some people in my team come in like 10:30. Some people come in slightly earlier. It's really flexible and up to your schedule.
I don't know if there were any other questions.
Claire, is there a contact that you could put in the chat, maybe if people think of questions?
Sure.
Afterwards?
I'll just put in our careers address, which is careers@optiver.com.au. Yeah, if there's anything there, then.
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. And I think this session is being recorded, is that right? So it'll be distributed. Okay, perfect. Cool. Well, I just want to ask Peter then one last question.
Oh, sure.
Like, how do they how do the software developers interact with like the traders and the researchers? Like, where do they come into things?
Yeah, that's a really great question, actually. So I've primarily been working on trading strategies. So sometimes, the trader or the researcher would come up with like a new idea. For example, we want to capture like this new opportunity in the market. But like most of the time, or at least some of the time, like they don't have like a solid idea of how to like make it happen. So it's up to you, I guess, to like work with trading and research and other IT teams as well, to come up with like a good solution. And yeah, just build it, test it, and then roll it out to production.
Oh, thanks. All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you to my team as well, Ben and Peter, for coming along and sharing their insights.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thanks, Laura.
to Peter and Ben as well, and to the students for tuning in. Yeah, any questions, careers@optiver.com.au, and we've got a recording of the session, so just let us know at UC Careers if you would like a copy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Bye.